Welcome to another interesting episode of the Gospel of Photography. Now, before we move ahead, can we all try to silence our phones so that the pastor will not be disturbed during this session? Eshegon, thank you very much. Okay, I know it's been a few weeks or is it months that we've actually shot an episode, but please forgive us our trespasses. Now, we will try our best to be more consistent. Now, I realize that in previous episodes, I've mentioned that people should send in questions that they have. Interestingly enough, I've been getting some interesting and funny questions. Perhaps I should explain very well. Whenever we have questions, perhaps it's obvious you've done your own research on your parts before you are asking. For example, you don't send in a question and ask, how many cameras has Canon produced? To a large extent, you could discover the answer to that on Google. You don't send me a question and ask, Mr. Shen, what's your full name? Please, not to try to insult you, save my time. Ask me questions that it's obvious you've done your best to at least attempt to address it before you are asking me. So somebody sent me a question, for example, a few days ago, asking me, Mr. Shen, what type of photography do you shoot? And I'm thinking in my head, how does the type of photography I shoot, how would that benefit your own life? Ask me questions that really matter. So somebody else asked a question that I will attempt to address today. And the question is, how do I discover myself as a photographer? And when that question was asked, I remember that very day, not that I was there, but that very day that Nicodemus approached Jesus and said, Master, how must one be born again? It almost sounded philosophical. But it's a very interesting question, especially when you consider the fact that it was asked by someone that is new into photography. And it's interesting because many of us coming into photography, I add myself inclusive because I still consider myself a newbie. Many of us coming into this photography don't really know, what style, what message you want to pass across. Most people coming into photography are coming to maybe start shooting weddings or start shooting events. Why? Because all what they see is photographers shooting events. But is there a way you can shoot your own event and still carve out your own style? How do you really discover yourself? My own answer to that is it requires time. Discovering yourself will not happen overnight. In most cases, I recommend spending time, in most cases, under someone, serving someone the way Elisha served Elijah. And please, don't assume that that person has to be me. I have enough people following and chasing me already. But, just search within yourself, who is that photographer whose pictures, touches your heart so much that you wouldn't mind spending 6 months to 1 year with the person. Now, I would recommend you have at least 2 to 3 options, because if your first and only option is T.Y. Bello or Kelechi Amadi Obi, for example, trust me, there's a high probability that you will end up on a wait list and your name might be number 1974 or thereabout. So just have an option of 2 or 3 people. There are countless photographers online that you could check out their works, and the ones that touches your heart so much, perhaps you'll be someone that you should be ready to chase after. And to a large extent, by the time you start following this type of photographers whose pictures touches your heart, by 6 months to about 2 years, adding self-education to that. You are reading books on psychology, books on how to relate with people, books on photography. By the time you spend 6 months to about 2 years doing that, I think to a large extent, you have an idea who you are as a photographer or the style that you want to portray. So it's really, really important that you add, personal education to this. As much as this type of program, Gospel of Photography, is bent on preaching the gospel of photography, the truth is we still can't teach you everything. There's so much information out there that you still need to spend time to discover on your own. It's really, really key. Okay, so please, still send in your questions, but let it be questions that you've done your best to research to get the answer, or particular situations that you have been through that you've never heard of before. I'll do my best to reply and address them. The email address once again is gospeloffphotography@ellophotos.com. Feel free to contact us. Till we meet again, same channel. I'm not sure if it's the same time, but stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel. forward to your friends, and keep taking those pictures. I think it's about to rain. Oh, it's drizzling already. Anyway, I gotta go. I think I have some clothes outside that I need to pack. Take care.